Thank you very, very much. This is the Chelsea Football FanCast, and this is also fueled by Guinness, and it is also powered by celery. And I'm afraid it is the show that is now concentrating on the league. Oh dear. I am Stanford Chidge, and the name of tonight's show is the Chelsea Football FanCast, Boing, Boinged and Bullied, which sadly seems somewhat appropriate, but there we go. Typical Chelsea, one glorious week followed by a very, very disappointing one. 'Twas ever thus, I'm afraid, for those of us with longer memories than 2003. Now, Chelsea did actually run out of steam, or in fact possibly sat back against West Brom, and a surefire win ended in points dropped in a dismal draw. And then on Saturday, we could not make it 3 out of 3 against City, but worse, we were dumped out of our favourite competition with more of a whimper than the fight that you would expect from Chelsea. Disappointed is an understatement. But luckily, I've got lots of people here who are going to cheer me up, because I'm feeling a bit fed up and cheesed off about all this. But one of the most positive people, as you lot out there who watch the show every week, one of the most positive people in the world is in fact Pablo.
Hello, you're right.
See, there you go. Proof were needed. How are you, mate?
I'm all right, thanks. Not too bad.
Now, I promised you I'd do this earlier on, but I think we all need to do a round of loyal supporter. Loyal supporter. Because Pablo is the only one at this table who was... Well, Dan was getting paid to be there, to be fair. But you were there on both games, so I'm really glad that you were. And we will get your insight in that later. We've also got the marvellously, beautifully formed Darren Mantle tonight.
Hello, I'm wearing your old T-shirt.
You are, actually. Well, only because I couldn't fit into it. Apparently,
fits me perfectly.
Yeah, well, there you go. You're thinner than me. But the Carefree in the UAE are bringing me an extra large one very soon, apparently.
With Sammy?
No, I think Diane's bringing it over, or Yusuf possibly.
Yusuf's
so I will be able to.
Spurs,
yes, I'll be able to wear it, which I'm looking forward to. Now we also have the wonderfully erudite Dan Levine back with us this week.
Erudite or erudite?
I think actually, with the results we've had in the last week, stickability would be a good thing, Dan. But it's good to see you back.
Lovely to be here.
Bit of sense and decorum on the show this week. So don't worry, we'll have Jonathan back next week. But there you go. Now we've also got, of course, as always, we have a very small. Bit of a low turnout on the away benches this week, but we have the Chadmeister.
Hello.
How are you?
Very well, sir, and yourself?
I'm very well too, mate, and I was delighted by the instant stat you tweeted me whilst I was watching the game on Saturday.
No.
More of that later. Now, we've also got my favouriteest chef in the whole widest world, who was tweeting for England, or more to the point Chelsea, all weekend, mainly coating off any trolls and haters and the weird amount of Man City fans who were giving us a hard time, weren't you, Andy? You were doing very well.
Yes, I answered them back for a change.
Good man. You were doing your job with aplomb, I would say. Now, if you want to actually make sure that we're up to capacity on the benches rather than the kind of Wimbledon-esque turnout that we've got tonight, all you have to do is, in fact, email us, chelseafancast@gmail.com, and let me know you want to come along, because we do like it when there's a lot of you here. It makes for a better atmosphere, as it would do in any football ground. And, of course, during the evening, if you want to be part of the show and tell us what you think, or even be rude to me, I don't mind, I can take it, I've got broad shoulders. All you have to do is to interact with the Chadmeister, and you can tweet him at Chelsea FanCast. You can also use the hashtag Chelsea FanCast. Amazingly enough, that works. And of course, if you're listening to us as well as watching us, or just listening to us on mixlr.com/Chelsea-fancast, you can join in the chat room there and get involved, because that's really what it's all about. Now, on tonight's show, we're going to be asking, where have all the leaders in the team gone, and would we rather have beaten City in the league or the cup? And we'll also discuss the furore about the heavy-handed stewarding and policing at City. Paul was there, so he knows about it, but there's been a lot of activity on Twitter about that, as you can imagine. All this, plus what is it about West Brom away? And are, in fact, Brazilians scared of the cold? Very deep, serious questions we're asking on the show tonight. You can tell by my depressive mood, can't you?
You're just going to bypass me and go straight to Dan?
Well, I know, because I like what you have to say, but in small doses, only small doses. Now, talking of small doses, we have our fun-sized bit of match award, really, called the Fannies, as you probably know, and we're going to be awarding our Man of the Match, Chart of the Match, Celery and Guinness moments in the Fannies. Now, you have 23 minutes to get your votes in, because now we've handed it over to you. You know, all this rumour about this being a chijocracy have been proven to be false, because now I open it up to the to the masses, and you can all vote for what you want, and then I have to accept what they say, don't I, Pablo?
Wow.
Much as it pains me.
You did try to not last
Did
week.
I try and cheat last week?
Either that you couldn't count. I
can't count.
You will veto some.
It's a well-known fact. There are people in the Amazon rainforest who are yet to be discovered who know that I have a problem with maths. But anyway, you can vote. So what I suggest you do is you go to chelseafancast.com, and on the headline menu you will see a thing called The Fannies. If you go in there, you'll see little blogs about who I've nominated and why, and you can vote for who you want, and we will reveal the winners in the Fannies section. I'm so excited, can't you tell? There we go. Now, we've also got, actually very important and very serious, we've got a phone call with Amanda Jacks, who works for the Football Supporters Federation. She's the one that initiated the campaign, Watching Football is Not a Crime. I'll say that again for anybody who was policing and stewarding at Man City. But she will be talking to us about that and what can be done about it. So that'll be interesting. Looking forward to that. What else have we got? That's pretty much it, really. I mean, also you can ask Chad, questions on Mixlr and Twitter, and you're on CFFC. We'll answer a few of those. Got a few emails this week as well. And of course, don't forget we do have a Skype address if you ever want to phone us, and even if it's just a mistake, even if it's because you're trying to order a pizza and you've got to, I don't mind. I'll give you a Hawaiian. Is that a euphemism for anything, a Hawaiian?
Sure it is.
Okay, I'm sorry if I've just offended anybody
Someone
out there.
get on Urban Dictionary.
Yeah.
Aloha.
Aloha. Aloha. I'm Alan Partridge, yeah. But, I probably offended some Scousers because they're offended by everything and ashamed of nothing, as we all know.
Sore point.
I know. Dan was trolling them last night, and I laughed a lot. Now, we would normally now go straight into the Ross's ratings for the Man City match, but we have a producer of this show. He is called Greg Grimes. And he very sensibly said to me, he said, Chidge, you cannot do a blooming show about Chelsea and not talk about Jose's spat with Wenger. Everybody's talking. Oh, well, OK then. So I thought, well, OK, we've got approximately 4.5 minutes to talk about this big thing. Just to remind anybody who actually has just landed from another planet, like Martin Levy, basically Wenger accused Jose of being afraid of failure, which is why he's counting Chelsea out of the title race. And when the journalists put their rather skewed version of it to Jose in the presser, he said, well, I'm not scared of failure. He's a specialist in failure, which, of course, is brilliant. And now Wenger's apparently said that we should all be embarrassed.
Yeah.
He's an embarrassment to Chelsea. Frankly, if I look like you, Wenger, if I fell over at Lime Street Station, if I basically, breathed for the last however many years, I would be embarrassed to be you. That's all I'm saying.
If you couldn't do up a zip in the way
can't
that
even
can't
do a
zip up.
zip. That's why I have button flies. Learn something from your Uncle Chidge.
In fairness, that zip is about 4 times the size of any normal one, so I can understand why it might be a bit more difficult.
I think we should ask Dan about this first, because Dan's been in these press conferences, so he understands what the dynamics are in this. But I mean, what do you think about it?
I should say, first of all, I wasn't at this one, but...
Were you banned?
No.
Oh. Next time, eh?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's quite normal. It's people prolonging the story. It's fairly standard. If a manager has come up with something, you take it on to the next manager. You ask them a question about it.
Of course you do. It's fair enough, isn't it?
And people in this job know that there are particularly 2 people who will always answer these questions. One is Wenger and one is Mourinho. And if you can get them bouncing off each other, it's almost perpetual motion.
Do you think, Dan, I mean, the opprobrium that, Jose's comment of he's a specialist in failure caused, the outrage in the red top media, which, I thought somebody had died when I read it, but, is it something, I think they protest a little bit too much, do they not? I mean, come on, get a grip.
I thought it was absolutely hilarious. And I think most people probably listening to this thought the same.
I heard them laughing in the presser.
Yeah,
I went back and watched the presser and they were laughing.
But, of course, Mourinho knows that is something now that is going to stick with Wenger forever.
Yeah.
Because we know that Wenger isn't going to win anything.
Like the voyeur, although he apologised for it.
The voyeur stuck with him for 5 years.
Yeah.
I've just written a piece saying that basically Special One TV, they were calling him the voyeur for 5 years after that.
And it emerged again afterwards when Mourinho came back to England this summer, didn't it? So even though he'd apologised for it and they drew a line under it, came back.
The thing is, Darren, is that, I think that from my own point of view here, I'm sure you'd probably agree with me here, but I loved it when Jose coated Wenger off, because he did nothing more than we as Chelsea fans have been saying forever and ever. 9 years and you haven't won very much. I have to be careful what I say, and I love that about Jose. He kind of it makes him feel like he's one of us because he's saying what we think. I love that, so I don't care about that.
Yeah, I agree. I was at work till 6 o'clock on Friday. Quite annoyed when I left. I was in Barking of all places, and when I saw the BBC thing, it said Wenger. Specialist in failure.
Yeah. You laughed,
I knew it was Mourinho.
You knew
laughed. Before you open it,
yeah.
You know what it's going to be. Yeah. And it was hilarious as you think it's going to be when you see it. And then when you see the actual clip, when he says about how if he spent that long without winning anything, he'd leave and never come back.
Yeah. It's another dig, isn't it?
It is just brilliant, and you can see it does obviously wind Wenger up, and it wound up others as well.
Do you think, boys, that I actually get the feeling they don't really like each other very much, because actually this is not the first time. This spat's been going on since Jose first turned up, and I love Jose's comments that Wenger appears to be obsessed with Chelsea and him, and actually you'd have to agree. I mean, because Jose clearly gets underneath Wenger's skin,
and. Yeah, totally.
Don't you? I think it's real.
Yeah, I think just it's a broader thing of Chelsea getting under Arsenal's skin, full stop, because of Chelsea ruining Arsenal's greatest ever team, and they disappeared into history.
Well, they've been nothing since Jose turned up. No. I mean, the year before they were the Invincibles, and now they're the what was it?
Dirigibles.
I was going to say dirigible. Risibles. The Risibles. From the Invincibles to the Risibles.
From Mourinho's point of view, he effectively took on Wenger when he first turned up. He didn't have the same level of respect for him as he did for Ferguson. And he was also his main rival. Now I think he sees him as comparable rival.
Quickie
again.
for Chad. Remind me, Chad, has Wenger ever beaten Jose in a match?
No.
No, there you go. That's the stat I wanted to hear.
I would say as well.
Proof if we needed it.
The whole Jose thing as well, though, is that no other football supporter can look at their manager apart from during 90 minutes and think, oh yeah, they produce comedy gold. They might get 90 seconds about their team away from the pitch, and that's if they're lucky. Yeah. And Mourinho is always coming out of the goods.
Well, that's why the press love him. And I mean, I do think it's a bit mean of the press. I mean, the thing is, it's very easy to get sucked in for feeling sorry for Mourinho, isn't it? Because the press will go up in arms. But actually, the fact is that every word he utters has got the massive amount of calculation about the impact that it's going to have. And, we all know that him saying that deflects anything away from the team. Yeah?
Before Dan speaks, sorry.
No,
I was going to say, the one thing that I love more about Mourinho than anything else, as you know and every journalist knows, he says it so you're right about it. You've got no choice, though. Yeah. Everything that he says, he knows everyone's going to write about it, no matter what he says, and everyone in the press has to write about it. And it's brilliant the way he does it. You all know why he's doing it, but they'll still have to write it.
Yeah. Last word quickly.
Every journalist I know, when they go to these press conferences, they all say exactly the same words. And it's 3 very short words. He's box office.
He's box office. He's Hollywood, man. Give the man a BAFTA. Right, hopefully we will be getting a BAFTA for this show tonight. But first of all, we have to have a very little break, and then we'll be back to talk about the Man City match.